So our mission today is, well, pretty simple. We want to give you the shortcut to essential knowledge you need to thrive in the shifting CPG landscape.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive for that ambitious mid-level executive who, feels caught between these huge strategic goals and the messy reality of day-to-day work.
And this analysis is particularly timely. It draws heavily on a really crucial deep dive from Denise at C3 Centricity. She focuses so intensely on how CPG executives can reignite momentum.
Mm.
And today the focus is sharp. Sustainability.
And it's really shifted, hasn't it?
It has. Fundamentally, it's gone from being just a compliance burden, tick box exercise to a powerful strategic lever.
Not just for brand growth, but for your actual career.
Exactly. For tangible career advancement.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because the core idea here, it feels incredibly counterintuitive.
It does.
All this immense external pressure from regulators, retailers, consumers, it's actually creating maybe the single biggest opportunity for managers looking to make their name.
That's the whole premise. This deep dive is about seeing that friction and turning it into, well, internal success stories that can accelerate your career path.
It's about seeing pressure not as a threat, but as a challenge that's just waiting for a solution.
Precisely. And if you want more of these kinds of focused insights, we really do encourage you to follow us for more deep dives.
And of course, people can visit c3centricity.com.
Yes, for more ideas. And that includes the chance to book a free business makeover session, which is great for pinpointing where to focus your next big momentum project.
So if we accept that shift in mindset, we have to start with the new playing field. Sustainability, as you said, is no longer some fringe issue.
No, it's moved right onto the main scorecard.
And what's fascinating is how institutionalized this has become.
It really is. This isn't about a few niche organic brands anymore. Sustainability is now a core business driver because it's being baked into the supply chain by the big players.
You mean retailers, investors?
Retailers, investors, massive B2B customers, they are all incorporating concrete ESG criteria right into their supplier scorecards and procurement platforms.
Can you give us a tangible example of what that actually looks like?
Yeah, think about the software that runs these huge B2B transactions.
Okay.
Platforms like Jag which is a major procurement platform, now automate compliance tracking.
So as a supplier, your data has to be in their system.
Your ability to integrate your sustainability data, your carbon footprint, your waste reduction, it dictates your standing, your risk rating, and ultimately your shelf space.
So this is not optional reporting anymore.
No, this is mandatory infrastructure.
And when you look at the scale of the challenge here, you get why the pressure is so intense. We're talking about Scope 3 emissions. The Science-Based Targets Initiative tells us that emissions in the value chain, the Scope 3 stuff, are on average 11 times higher than a company's direct emissions.
11 times.
11 times. That's more than 70% of a typical CPG company's footprint.
And that 11x number is so critical because Scope 3 is exactly where CPG organizations live.
Right. It's everything outside your own factory walls.
Everything. Raw material sourcing, transport, how the consumer uses the product, end-of-life disposal. Addressing it demands real changes, not just, tweaking light bulbs in the office.
So how does this gigantic compliance headache, this Scope 3 mountain, become a career gift for a mid-level manager?
Because that complexity creates a vacuum of ownership.
A vacuum?
Yeah, think about the average quarterly review meeting. Everyone nods when the climate targets go up on the screen.
Of course.
But when the conversation shifts to who owns the next concrete step, who's going to build the joined-up story for Tesco or Walmart for the next year, you get this collective silence.
Wait, so you're saying the biggest regulatory burden actually becomes a manager's biggest career gift just because it's so complex nobody else wants to touch it?
Precisely. You treat that silence as an open door. The manager who steps up and says, I'll take the lead on building one single sustainability story for this key retailer, they gain high visibility fast.
Because it proves you can handle that complexity.
It proves you can manage complexity, speak multiple corporate languages, and drive alignment. That's what C-suite careers are built on.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's pivot to the customer. This brings us to the next big question. Can we actually make money from this?
The consumer paradox.
Exactly, Section 2. Consumers say they want better choices, but they are absolutely still watching their wallets.
It's that constant struggle, isn't it? Aspiration versus affordability.
It is.
And surveys from major firms like PwC and Bain show this remarkably consistent pattern. Roughly half to two-thirds of consumers say they are willing to pay a premium.
And what does that premium look like?
It usually falls around 10 to 12% above the traditional price.
A 10 to 12% margin opportunity sounds like a clear green light. But what happens the moment they're in the store aisle? They see a standard product with a massive buy one get one free sticker. If that premium evaporates in the real world, isn't this a huge risk for a manager to take?
That is the critical tension you have to solve. Because the retail reality, as Deloitte points out, is harsh.
How so?
Many shoppers just don't trust vague green claims. They feel greenwashed. And sustainable options are still seen as too expensive or just too hard to spot on a busy shelf.
So a little leaf logo isn't enough.
A small generic leaf logo is not enough to change weekly purchasing behavior. The eyes still go to the familiar and the affordable.
So the job isn't to write manifestos about saving the planet.
Absolutely not. The job for the brand or shopper manager is highly tactical. You have to combine price, convenience, and credible improvements into one clear value proposition.
So sustainability has to be part of the value story.
An essential part of it, not just a nice extra you bolt on and charge 12% more for. You have to mitigate that risk you just mentioned.
And how does that look practically?
You focus on the specific benefit. Maybe it's no harmful chemicals, which is about personal health, or less weight, which is about convenience. The goal is to show you can move real shoppers in tough, value-driven environments.
That's tangible evidence that a finance team can understand.
Exactly. Not just marketing speak.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the concrete evidence, the SKU performance.
And the data here, it overwhelmingly justifies the effort. We are way past the point of this being a defensive move.
So sustainable SKUs are actually outperforming.
Significantly. Bain's research, for example, shows that brands with the highest sustainability scores can achieve revenue growth up to 10 times higher than their peers.
10 times. That's transformative, not incremental. It's hard to ignore that.
And it creates a protective barrier for those SKUs, which is so important right now.
It's a protective barrier.
Yeah. Your monitor looked at global portfolio streamlining back around 2025. Overall, SKU counts fell by almost 30%, a huge contraction.
I remember that.
But sustainable SKUs lost less shelf space. And crucially, they increased their share of the digital shelf.
So in a shrinking portfolio, sustainability became a defense.
It signaled relevance and future-proofing to the retailers.
So what does this all mean for managers making those tough SKU rationalization calls every quarter? The temptation is always to protect the classic items, the guaranteed money makers.
Of course. And you cut the newer, riskier ideas.
But the data is showing those risky SKUs with sustainability credentials are the ones driving incremental growth.
This is a major career opportunity right here. Managers have to move from being reactive to being proactive.
And how do you operationalize that in a review meeting?
You proactively map which of your SKUs pair strong shopper demand with credible sustainability advantages. Then you frame your proposal in retailer language.
Not internal marketing language.
No, you say. We're cutting 10 low-value items, but we are doubling down on these 3 SKUs because their claims directly support the retailer's published climate goals.
That's brilliant. You're not just saving a SKU, you're offering the retailer a solution to their scorecard problem.
Exactly. And leaders notice the manager who brings a clear, fact-based plan that protects growth and strengthens the company's reputation with its biggest customers.
This brings us to Section 4, building cross-functional power. This is where the rubber really meets the road.
This is the ultimate testing lab.
That complexity you mentioned, the thing that paralyzes companies, is actually the best training ground for a promotion.
It is. Sustainability cuts across every single silo: procurement, R&D, logistics, marketing, sales. And because no one has that holistic view, the organization just freezes.
Right.
But for the mid-level manager, this is your chance to become the connective tissue.
So instead of waiting for some central ESG team that might not even exist, you create your own task force.
You step right into the gap. You create a small cross-functional squad focused on one concrete, measurable goal.
What are some of those concrete examples? What are the projects that build real career evidence?
You focus on goals that force collaboration. For instance, move one top-selling SKU to fully recyclable packaging, but with the non-negotiable condition of no margin loss.
Oof. That forces procurement, R&D, and finance to work together.
Intensely. Another one. Cut transport-related emissions for a key retailer by adjusting pallet configurations. That involves logistics, sales, and packaging.
So by convening this small squad, the manager becomes the internal translator.
Yes, you learn the language of each function. Procurement's cost constraints, R&D's hurdles, logistics network possibilities.
And that's the true value of a future leader.
It is. You prove you can drive collaboration without positional authority. You stop being just a brand manager. You become the person who makes things happen across the whole value chain.
So let's talk about turning that outcome into promotion evidence, because promotion rewards evidence, not just effort.
You need a clear one-page narrative that connects your work to outcomes the business truly cares about.
Cost savings, risk mitigation.
Exactly. Consumer preference, retailer scorecard results. A good sustainability project provides exactly that kind of verifiable proof.
So you don't just say, I led a cross-functional team. What does the evidence statement actually sound like?
It sounds like this. We initiated a packaging lightweighting project on Ski UX, which cut Y tons of material and resulted in Z dollars of annual logistics savings.
And
While simultaneously increasing our distribution with our top retailer by 15%, because this move directly helped them meet their zero-waste targets.
yeah,
You track the hard metrics.
the narrative has to cover growth, risk, and reputation.
All three. Measurable outcomes are everything. Volume lift, improved margin, a new claim that lifted very believable scores in concept tests. You walk into that promotion meeting with a story that shows you managed risk, supported growth, and elevated the company's reputation.
That's so powerful. Okay, before we wrap up, we need to connect all these moves. How do leaders avoid this just becoming another checklist?
We need connected thinking, and this brings us to the synthesis, which is the QC2 approach.
QC2.
It stands for quantum customer centricity. It's built to connect four pieces that usually sit in totally separate silos.
Which are?
The company's strategic goals, real consumer needs, the brand's promises, and then the internal processes and metrics.
Why the term quantum? It suggests a kind of leap.
Because it's a shift in perspective. Instead of being paralyzed by Scope 3, QC2 says you start from the desired change in consumer behavior.
Not from the regulation.
Not from the regulation. You find where sustainability genuinely supports that change, and then you design feasible atomic moves in pack, price, or product that you can test and scale.
So it bypasses the paralysis by making sure every internal move is justified by an external customer need.
Yes. It ensures the internal investment always serves a consumer-validated purpose. And managers who adopt this lens, they become incredibly valuable.
Because they can speak the language of the CMO, the retailer, and procurement all at the same time.
Simultaneously, they can show how these four elements connect to create real growth.
So let's summarize the main takeaway then. Sustainability pressure is not going away.
It's only intensifying.
The manager who integrates this pressure into a strategic growth and value story, rather than just treating it as background noise, turns it into the project that makes their name.
And this raises an important question for you, the listener.
Go on.
Are you currently managing your portfolio through an outdated, defensive lens, just protecting the classic SKUs? Or are you proactively using the momentum of sustainability to identify and accelerate the projects that will drive the next decade of growth?
That is a challenging question to take away, but it provides a very clear direction.
It does.
And if you want to explore the QC2 framework further, we strongly encourage you to visit c3centricity.com.
You can learn more about the QC2 evaluator there.
And most importantly, book that free business makeover session to see how a targeted sustainability move could become your strongest career story over the next 12 months. Thanks for diving deep with us.